in the field of chlorine dioxide disinfection. Quote, "While chlorine dioxide has chlorine in its name, its chemistry is radically different from that of chlorine. As we all learned in high school chemistry, we can mix two compounds and create a third that bears little resemblance with its parents. For instance, by mixing 2 parts of hydrogen gas with 1 of oxygen, liquid water is formed. We should not be misled by the fact that chlorine and chlorine dioxide share a word in common. The chemistries of the 2 compounds are completely different." So now, let's dig into safety. Is chlorine dioxide safe? The answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, it's safe if it's used appropriately, and no, it's not safe if it's used inappropriately. This is true for any chemical, medicine, or substance that is applied to the human body. Because of chlorine dioxide's safe track record, it's used widely as a water purifier and is being used as a safe decontaminant in many industries, including the food and beverage, medical, agricultural, pharmaceutical, and sanitation. Any place where you need to kill all of the bacteria, fungus, and viruses, chlorine dioxide is becoming known as the safest and most effective choice available. Chlorine dioxide was used to safely sterilize the Senate offices after an anthrax attack in Washington, D.C. in 2001, and it has been used to safely clean up Ebola virus hot zones. When used appropriately, chlorine dioxide is safe and is one of the few chemicals that does not harm the environment. Precautions and discretion should be used as would be appropriate with any chemical, medication, herb, or substance used for medical purposes. There are a number of different ways that the users of chlorine dioxide introduce this substance onto and into their bodies. The primary methods of use include topical and oral consumption. For the purposes of this discussion about safety, I'm going to cover the methods that are commonly tested in the scientific research literature, which include oral consumption, inhalation, and ophthalmic. One of the main reasons why chlorine dioxide is replacing chlorine bleach in many water treatment facilities is because its byproducts do not react with organic compounds in the same way as chlorine bleach. The byproducts of chlorine dioxide are safe and not harmful for human consumption. Safety studies performed since the 1970s have shown that chlorine dioxide, when used appropriately, is safe for human consumption. More recent animal studies have also helped to identify safe levels of chlorine dioxide for oral and inhalation use. Let's look at a few of those studies. In 2017, a safety study was performed using mice. Part of this study was performed in order to determine the safety and efficacy of chlorine dioxide when inhaled and taken orally. The conclusion for the inhaled chlorine dioxide was that compared to the control group, quote, inhalation of 10 and 20 parts per million of chlorine dioxide for a full straight 24-hour period did not cause irritation in the mice, and there was no significant difference between the control and the test group. In the same study, the conclusion for the oral dosing of chlorine dioxide was, quote, in the subchronic oral toxicity test, 0, 5, 10, 20, and 40 parts per million chlorine dioxide was prepared to feed mice. Clinical observations of the mice showed no abnormality